Okay, folks, I guess we are live. So let me stop screen for, okay, there we go. Yeah, Eleanor just informed me that I wasn't live and I caught it. And yes, now we are live. So sorry for everybody that I used up, I guess, 15 minutes of your time or so, or you've been looking for me. I hope anyway. But so this is our, uh, okay. And there's Alan. Yeah. Hey, Alan. Eleanor just let me know that I wasn't live. Now I got it corrected. And this is our Good Friday, Easter weekend Friday. And I'm also moving this weekend, finishing up a move that I've been doing all week. So it's probably going to be a pretty quick show, but I wanted to make sure I got it in. And since I thought I was live and wasn't, I'm going back to the show notes and let you guys see what's going on. So if you're new here, always do this every week. Uh, we go over some of the stories from last Friday to this Friday. And if you're new, please type something in the comments. And happy Good Friday to you, Alan. And Annette's in here. Happy Good Friday to you also. And I'm hoping everybody has a very blessed and happy Easter weekend. It's supposed to be a beautiful, sunny weekend here. So we're good to go in Tennessee. We were up to 74 degrees today. It was sunny, so it was really nice. While I was running back and forth to my new apartment. So that was good. All right. So we're going to go over the show notes real quick. First one was on 9 to 5 Mac. WWDC 2024 is going to be June 10th through the 14th. So that's what we'll start with. Then we'll go to what I think is the heavy one of the week. Sam Bankman-Fried gets 25 years. We'll check that out on The Verge. Couldn't happen to a nicer guy, in my opinion. Finally, one of the guys at Tech Radar has a nice story that Apple Soup will reveal business data that the Cupertino Mammoth normally keeps to itself. So he's saying that this suit is going to make Apple show some secrets that they usually don't want the public to know. So it's just kind of an interesting story. We're going to follow that up with the EU is taking its Digital Markets Act very seriously, which just went live earlier this month. Just as Apple, Meta, and Google, they're already investigating all three of them for a year to see if they're complying with the act. And then I just caught this pretty cute story. OpenAI opened Sora up to filmmakers and professional artists this week, and some filmmakers did some pretty innovative stuff here, especially this one. I'll let you see it when we get there. I'm not going to run the videos for you, but I would highly recommend watching. It's very creative stuff. And finally, arrested former UPS employee cashes in on stolen Apple products. This is a Canadian UPS driver who I gather got $1.3 million in Apple stuff before he got caught. Thank God he got caught. So, and that says rainy in California over there. That's unusual. But yeah, we all pay, I guess, at some point. So nothing new. I haven't heard from Ted. Usually if Ted's not going to be in, he usually lets me know in Telegram the day before, which he hasn't done. So maybe that's a good sign. Of course, there's always a chance by some miracle we might hear from Will, and I'm sure Mike is out doing his door dashing. So let's start with the first story since I got a little behind thinking I was live when I wasn't. So WWDC 2024, June 10th through 14th. This was on 9 to 5 Mac. WWDC 2024 confirmed for June 10th, iOS 18 and more expected. This was by Chance Miller 3 days ago. Let's drop it into reader view and get rid of some of these ads. Okay, Apple has officially confirmed WWDC 2024, while iOS 18 for iPhone users will be officially announced. The company says this year's Worldwide Developers Conference will take place from June 10th to June 14th. That's a Monday through Friday. The festivities will get started at a special keynote on Monday, June 10th. Entire conference available online for all developers with a special event at Apple Park June 10th. So it sounds like they really opened it up because it's been mostly online the last few years, but it looks like you can go to either now. I mean, you can go either online or you can go to it. In a press release announcing WWDC 2024 today, this was a few days ago, Apple says, Apple today announced it will host its annual Worldwide Developers Conference online from June 10th through June 14th, 2024. Developers and students will have the opportunity to celebrate in person at a special event at Apple Park on opening day. Free for all developers, WWDC 24 will spotlight the latest iOS, iPadOS, macOS, watchOS, tvOS, and visionOS advancements. As part of Apple's ongoing commitment to helping developers elevate their apps and games, the event will also provide them with unique access to Apple experts as well as insight into new tools, frameworks, and features. WWDC will kick off on June 10th with Apple's special keynote at Apple Park. Other WWDC 2024 festivities will include the State of the Union, the Apple Design Awards, sessions for developers, and more. There will also be video sessions and opportunities to engage with Apple designers and engineers and connect with the worldwide developer community. Details on how to apply to attend WWDC in person can be found on the Apple developer site and app. And there's going to be a contest, which we're going to tell you about right now, that might get you there in person. In addition to the in-person component of WWDC 2024 at Apple Park, Apple says the entire conference will be available online for developers. There is no cost for WWDC, whether you attend online or in person. Now here comes the contest. Apple is proud to support the next generation of developers through the Swift Student Challenge, one of many Apple programs that seek to uplift the next generation of developers, creators, and entrepreneurs. On March 28th, which was yesterday, the contest ended yesterday officially. This year's applicants will be notified of their status, and winners will be eligible to apply for the in-person experience at Apple Park. 50 distinguished winners who are recognized for outstanding submissions will be invited to Cupertino for a 3-day experience. So I guess the top 50 of the winners will actually get to go. Apple says more WWDC 2024 details will be shared prior to the event through the Apple Developer app and on the Apple Developer website. Apple will announce the next round of its major software updates at WWDC 2024. This year, the announcements are expected to be headlined by iOS 18, which Apple reportedly believes is the biggest update to the iPhone ever. Yeah, everybody's excited about iOS 18 because it's such a big deal. The update will include new artificial intelligence features as well as a more customizable home screen interface. And then they have links to some stories they've developed here. And in addition to iOS 18, Apple will also announce the following updates at WWDC 2024. iPadOS 18, visionOS 2, tvOS 18, macOS 15, watchOS 11.2. What are you most excited to see at WWDC 2024? So, sure, come June, we're all going to be pretty excited, especially about iOS 18. So, nothing else new in the comments, so we will move on to the next story, which to me is the heavy hitter of the week. Sam Bankman-Fried gets 25 years. I took the story from The Verge, but of course, everybody had the story. And I caught it just before I started researching for the stories yesterday, because the trial, he just got sentenced late yesterday. Sam Bankman-Fried sentenced to 25 years for FTX fraud. The co-founder and CEO of FTX has been sentenced. Like I said, couldn't happen to a better guy. I didn't get to read the story, but I did see a story from one of the customers that said that it had ruined his entire life. So this guy has really ruined some people. FTX co-founder Sam Bankman-Fried was sentenced to a total of 300 months or 25 years in prison for 7 counts of conspiracy and fraud charges stemming from the collapse of the crypto exchange he started. The judge applied a 240-month sentence for 4 of the charges, plus a 60-month sentence for 2 others, and ordered that Bankman-Fried forfeit more than $11 billion, including property, and I guess he's got some really nice property in Caribbean, as recommended by prosecutors. Judge Lewis Kaplan's sentence was shorter than the 40 to 50 years requested by prosecutors, which he said was more than necessary. So the judge thought he should have gotten 40 to 50, but longer than the 6.5 years Bankman-Fried's lawyers asked for, and far less than the maximum sentence of 110 years. Recapping the trial, now this is the judge talking. The judge really doesn't like this guy. He said that Bankman-Fried knew FTX was seriously exposed to risk, that the customer funds weren't his to use, and he was well aware that what he was doing was wrong. Bankman-Fried justified his actions by betting on expected value, weighing the cost of getting caught against the cost of getting away with it, and that was the game. And Ted's here. Time out. What's up, brother? Can you hear me? I haven't seen your mouth move yet. I'm not hearing you yet. We can see you. Do you have your microphone on? He hasn't said a word. At least I don't think he said a word. Okay. Well, we can see you, but I'm not hearing you at all. So, all right. I guess he's got some mic issues so far. Meanwhile, I'll continue with this heavy hitter story. I'm so glad this guy got his. Like I said, the judge really doesn't like this guy, and it's very clear. Before announcing the sentence, Kaplan, this is the judge speaking again, called the defense's claims that people would be paid back speculative, finding that customers of FTX lost $8 billion and that Bankman-Fried attempted to tamper with witnesses' nice, perjured himself, and falsely testified about what he learned of the missing $8 billion. Yeah, he tried all kinds of lying here, and the judge wasn't buying any of it. Despite a jump in the value of FTX's crypto holdings or its stake in the AI company Anthropic, and Anthropic is doing very, very well at the moment, Kaplan said. Anthropic is a big AI company. Kaplan said, according to Bloomberg, a thief who takes his loot to Las Vegas and successfully bets the stolen money is not entitled to a discount on the sentence by using his Las Vegas winnings to pay back all a part of which he stole when he finally gets caught. Bankman-Fried co-founded FTX in 2019, and it quickly became one of the biggest crypto exchanges in the world. During Bankman-Fried's trial, his co-conspirators testified that FTX falsified numbers to make the exchange look safer than it was and gave special secret privileges, get this, to Bankman-Fried's trading fund, Alameda Research, that let it dip into FTX's customer funds. And that's what he did. It seems like he started this Alameda company specifically so he could raid FTX's funds and steal from the customers. And that's exactly what he did. Ted is back, but I haven't heard him say anything yet. And I guess he doesn't have his camera on yet. All right, so we'll continue. During his trial, Bankman-Fried testified disastrously on his own behalf. Good. During his direct examination, Kaplan had to intervene. Now get this, the judge had to intervene to ask Bankman-Fried to answer his own attorney's question. So this guy didn't answer anything he didn't want to answer. In a cross-examination, Bankman-Fried said he couldn't recall making certain public statements about the reliability of FTX. So the prosecution played them before the court repeatedly. Yeah, he couldn't get away with saying he doesn't remember making these statements because he was making statements on film and tape everywhere. He also claimed that though his employers told him about an $8 billion hole in the balance sheet, he didn't ask where the money went. Yeah, I'm sure he didn't care because he knew where it was. None of this was especially believable. The jury convicted him in just 4 hours, and Kaplan witnessed the whole thing, the judge, that is. The evasiveness, the bizarre word salad answers, and Bankman-Fried's tendency to answer questions he wished he had been asked rather than those he actually was asked worked against him. Good. During sentencing, the judge said he'd never seen a performance like that in his 30 years on the bench. Ted, are you there? Can you hear us? I just added you in, but I'm not hearing anything and not seeing anything yet. So I'm going to continue on down. It's all suggested he wasn't sorry for what he does. Why am I not surprised? Despite what his lawyer said in the sentencing filing, those who knew Sam know how deeply, deeply sorry, yeah, right, he is for the pain he caused over the last 2 years. Bankman-Fried is already in custody. He's been residing in the Metropolitan Detention Center since August 11, 2023, because he violated his bail conditions. Yes, he did. He tried to run. Among other things, he sent his co-conspirator and ex-girlfriend, Caroline Ellison, private memos to the New York Times. He sent her private memos to the New York Times. At the time, Kaplan and Bankman-Fried Kaplan said Bankman-Fried had engaged in witness tampering at least twice. According to his lawyers, Bankman-Fried has been having a bad time in jail, good, where he's lost weight because the MDC doesn't offer a decent vegan diet and has been suggested to multiple extortion attempts. Gee, why am I not surprised? The probation department recommended 100 years in prison, which Bankman-Fried's lawyers called grotesque. Sounds right to me for what he did. I think I hear Ted. I think I hear you moving around, Ted, but I'm not sure. They argued that because of his age, Bankman-Fried's case was substantially different than that of Bernie Madoff, who was sentenced to 150 years for his Ponzi scheme. No, this was worse than Madoff's, in my opinion. Because Madoff was 71, his sentence was in many ways symbolic. Madoff served only 12 years before dying in jail. Yeah, it's not likely that Bankman-Fried's going to die in jail. He's only in his 20s now. Anyway, glad to see he got 25 years. Ted, if you can hear me, say something, because I think I hear you moving around a little bit. We can't see you. But anyway, got through the heavy story of the week. So glad to see Bankman-Fried got his. Hey, Eric's here. What's up, Eric? Glad to have you here, brother. Happy Easter and happy Good Friday. I just went over the Bankman-Fried story because he finally got his, thank goodness. So glad you're here. Ted seems to be having some tech issues still. I thought I heard him moving around on microphone, but we're not seeing anything, and now I'm hearing nothing. So, okay, now we see you, but we still don't hear you at all. Now you look good, but we don't hear anything at all. So hopefully you'll keep working on your sound because nothing is coming through at all. All right, so I'm going to, yeah, and Eric agrees with me that, yeah, glad to see he got his, he's still alive. Yeah, I saw a story that I didn't get a chance to read that one customer said the guy just ruined his life. So, and probably a bunch of people. Okay, so Ted is still trying to get his mic working. Okay, he's out again. So we'll continue on until he gets back. So Going down to a third story, and this was just an interesting opinion piece. The Apple suit will reveal business data that the Cupertino Mammoth normally keeps to itself. And this was an opinion piece by Lance Yulnoff, who does a lot of tech radar stories. The Apple versus DOJ case is going to spill some secrets, and I am here for it. So he's excited for that. How many iPhones is that? And you'll see what he means as we get into the story. So let's go into read review, get rid of some of these ads. The U.S. Department of Justice's antitrust case against Apple is not strong. I kind of disagree with that. And I still don't believe the iPhone business rises to the level of a smartphone monopoly. But if Apple fails to get the case dismissed, there is the tantalizing possibility that Apple will have to reveal much it likes to keep secret or obscured. So he's kind of looking, you can almost see him rubbing his hands together for this, right? In a recent call, where Apple once again outlined all the ways the DOJ fails to prove Apple's iPhone business is a monopoly. And get this, the company told us that the government's argument is misleading because in its measure of Apple's share of the performance smartphone, read more expensive phones, business, they're relying on revenue numbers as opposed to units sold. It's true the DOJ's complaint makes at least 27 references to revenue for the iPhone, Apple Watch, and various other parts of Apple's business, and 0 references to units or units sold. So Apple's saying that the DOJ should be referencing units sold, but they're going against what they've said in the past themselves, as we'll see. Now, Apple says the iPhone Apple signature product is the primary driver. Oh, no, this was the DOJ. Apple's signature product is the primary driver of Apple's growth and profitability, routinely commanding profit margins of more than 30% on devices alone, significantly higher than its smartphone competitors. iPhone sales have made up a majority of Apple's annual revenue every year since 2012. A matter of sales. By any measure, this is accurate. Apple's iPhone business is a cash cow. However, when Apple spoke of how the DOJ got it wrong, it implied that a better way to look at its business is through how many iPhones it sold. That's what they're saying, since that might provide a more accurate market share comparison. I noted to Apple that, to my recollection, the company has not reported iPhone units sold in years, and that's true. If the case proceeded, I assume Apple would have to explain that contention by offering a detailed account of iPhone units sold, which they've never given us detailed accounts. Apple agreed and assumes that if it fails to get the case tossed, it will do exactly that. So they'll have to reveal the units sold. This point of view, though, is surprising. Back in 2018, when Apple announced it would no longer report iPhone units sold during its quarterly earnings report or at any other time, Apple CFO Luca Maestri characterized the decision by saying the number of units sold in a quarter is not representative of underlying state of business. Now they're saying it should go the other way. In other words, when Apple decided to stop telling us exactly how many phones, iPads, iPhones, Apple Watches, and Macs it was selling on a unit basis, it was because it didn't think that data painted the clearest picture of its business. Now it's saying it does. Granted, Apple rarely broke iPhone sales down to useful bits, like how many iPhone 8 versus iPhone 8 Plus it sold. It never gave us details that revealed the iPhone 13 mini was a dud, which it was. At best, every now and then, Apple CEO Tim Cook would drop a tidbit about how the iPhone 12 was once its most popular phone. There's a good chance that Apple will be forced to share that level of detail and much more as this case goes on. We will get not only iPhone unit sales numbers, but maybe also how many iPhone 15 handsets sold versus the pricier and more powerful iPhone 15 Pro. Get ready for reveals. According to Apple circa 2024, this is the best way to judge Apple's market dominance or lack thereof. Obviously, if you were asked the same question of Apple circa 2018, you might get a different answer. That's true, the exact opposite answer. Well, these numbers should show that what these numbers should show, though, is how Apple can make far more revenue than competitors while selling comparatively fewer phones and maybe owning less market share than the DOJ thinks. So they can sell less and make more. That's what they're saying. Apple's products are generally more expensive and usually don't get the vast discounts competitors like Samsung offer. When Samsung released its pricey Galaxy Z Fold 5, I counseled readers to shop around because there was little chance they'd actually have to pay the full $17.99 price. iPhone unit sales data will probably also show conclusively that Apple's most expensive phone, the iPhone 15 Pro Max, it's the one I have, don't have it with me today though, is the most popular and accounts for the lion's share of iPhone's revenue. That's the one that sold the most. Beyond iPhone, Apple Watch, Mac, and iPad unit sales data, I expect this discovery could reveal much about how Apple works with and treats major partners. We'll probably learn who it pays to license key technologies and how much. That should be interesting. We'll learn which services have the most subscribers and make the most money. That would be interesting to know, too. Apple, a company that prizes its secrecy like few others, will be revealing much, and I bet it will be happy to do so if it proves its case, even if that process contradicts what Apple told us in the past. And that's exactly what he's saying. So, interesting article. And Ted hasn't come back as yet. Just taking a quick sip, folk. All right, let's get out of this one. Let's see the comments. Let me go back to the comments for a minute. Okay, sorry, Pixel said I can't join with audio. This Pixel won't let him join with his. I don't know. That's very strange. Okay. He's a homie. Put Apple in its place. Fork. And that says, have a great Easter. And you too, Annette. And hope you have a good evening, I guess, at work. And a wonderful weekend for Easter. Rain or no rain. Very unusual for it to rain in California, I guess. Okay. We're going to go back to the stories. Too bad Ted can't get his audio work with us, but he gave it a heck of a shot. All right, on to the next story. I said the EU is taking its Digital Markets Act very seriously, just as Apple, Meta, and Google in the Digital Markets Act kicked in completely at the beginning of this month. So we're going to check it out on The Verge. Apple, Meta, and Google targeted by EU in DMA non-compliance investigations. The European Commission suspects that the companies aren't in compliance with its landmark antitrust rules. The investigations will last up to 12 months, and this was by John Porter, who does a bunch of their articles, and this is from 4 days ago. So, into reader view to drop some of these ads. The European Commission is opening 5 non-compliance investigations into how Apple, Google, and Meta are complying with its new Digital Markets Act antitrust rules, the regulator announced today. We suspect that the suggested solutions put forward by the 3 companies do not fully comply with the DMA, and they made it clear from the beginning they were going to be pretty strict with this Digital Markets Act. The EU's antitrust chief, Margaret Vestager, said in a statement, "We will now investigate the companies, all 3, compliance with the DMA to ensure open and contestable digital markets in Europe. In particular, the Commission plans to investigate Google and Apple's anti-steering rules. I had never heard of that before. In their app stores, and whether Google is guilty of self-preferencing its own services with its search engines. I guess anti-steering means they're steering them where they want to go, where they want them to go, I guess. Apple's browser choice screen for iOS is also being investigated, as well as Meta's pay or consent model for ad targeting. In a press conference, the Commission said it plans to conclude the investigations within the next 12 months. Additionally, the EU regulator is also looking into the fee structure Apple announced for distributing apps outside of the App Store, as well as whether Amazon is self-preferencing its own products on its store. The Commission has also announced that Meta has been giving an additional 6 months to make Messenger interoperable with other messaging services. So they're coming down hard on this stuff, and they're pretty much applying it to the big boys equally. We are not convinced that the solutions by Alphabet, Apple, and Meta respect their obligations for a fairer and more open digital space for European citizens and businesses, EU Commissioner Terry Brenton said in a statement. Should our investigation conclude that there is a lack of full compliance with the DMA, gatekeepers could face heavy fines, and all three of them are gatekeepers. They were declared that last year. Following the investigation, the Commission will tell each gatekeeper what must be done to address concerns, as well as what measures the regulator is planning to take. If found not to be in compliance, the Commission can fine each company, and they knew this up front, up to 10% of the annual global revenue under the DMA. Notice, not just the revenue they make in the EU, globally, or even 20% in cases of repeated infringement. Earlier this month, the 6 major tech companies designated as gatekeepers under the DMA had to start complying with its rules. These include having to give customers the option of changing default apps and uninstalling the gatekeeper's pre-installed applications, a ban on ranking a gatekeeper's first-party services higher than rivals, and allowing third-party app stores, which Apple did do that, I know that. The EU's antitrust chief, Margaret Vestager, previously indicated to Reuters that the Commission would be taking a closer look at how Apple is complying with the regulation of concerns that it may de facto not make it in any way attractive to use the benefits of the DMA. Ted says, EU sure does know how to levy. Yes, they do, and they're getting better at it, if you ask me. And they're serious, man, with this new DMA Act. The announcement follows fierce criticism of how Apple, in particular, is complying with the DMA. Although the company is allowing alternative app stores in iOS, I thought they were doing that, as required by the new rules, it's doing so, get this, with a new fee structure that critics claim will dissuade developers from distributing apps outside of Apple's App Store. Spotify, I love what they call it. Spotify called Apple's compliance a complete and total farce, while Epic CEO Tim Sweeney called the changes a new instance of malicious compliance. I love that term, malicious compliance. So they're complying, but in a very, really malicious way. Meta's pay or consent model has also been the subject of complaints from various EU watchdogs. Last year, it launched a new paid tier for Facebook and Instagram in the EU that allows users to pay £9.99 a month to use, €9.99 a month to use each service without ads. This subscription was designed to be a way to get user consent to collect their data if they decided not to pay. Boy, that's cold. But the Commission is concerned with the binary choice, I would be too, that Meta is offering. Last week, Meta said it had offered to reduce the monthly price of ad-free access to €5.99 a month to appease regulators. Yeah, but what they're saying is if you don't pay, we're going to collect everything out of you. It's probably in the what you agree to. In a series of statements, Apple, Meta, Google, and Amazon defended their approaches to complying with the DMA and said they'd continue to work with the commission to address its concerns. It sounds like they're not working with them too well so far. We're confident our plan complies with the DMA and will continue to constructively engage with the European Commission as they conduct their investigations. Apple spokesperson Julian Trousdorf said in a statement to The Verge. Subscriptions as an alternative to advertising are a well-established business model across many industries. Yes, they're established as a way to screw people. We will continue to engage constructively with the commission. If you want to learn a lot about what's going on with subscriptions across the industries, you check out Louis Rossman. He does great videos on that stuff. To comply with the Digital Markets Act, we have made significant changes to the way our services operate in Europe. Google's competition director, Oliver Bethel, said, adding that the company has engaged with the European Commission stakeholders and third parties in dozens of events over the past year to receive and respond to feedback. Bethel said Google will defend its approach. I bet you they'll lose. Amazon is compliant with the Digital Markets Act and has engaged constructively with the European Commission on our plan since the designation of two of our services. Amazon spokesperson Sam Barrett said in a statement. They're all kind of saying the same thing. We continue to work hard every day to meet all of our customers' high standards with Europe's changing regulatory environment. So, sounds like the EU is not buying into any of the stuff that any of the four of them are saying. A very interesting story. Okay. Ted says, Apple's compliance with the DMA sure does look like ammo for the DOJ's case. Yeah, and the DOJ is just going to keep using all the stuff that happens in the EU to pull it over here to America, and I think that's a very smart way to do it. So, a quick sip on my part. And down. Now, this one's just something I think everybody should take a look at. Filmmakers and professional artists get creative with OpenAI Sora. And we'll take a look at this on Tom's Guide. It says Amazon is giving a little sass in their statement. Yeah, but they're all kind of saying the same thing. We're complying. We're working with them. And sounds like the EU is saying, no, you're not either. But we'll see. Okay, Tom's Guide. OpenAI Sora given to filmmakers for the first time. Here's 7 of the best videos they created. And this sample one here, this is a good one. I'm not going to play the videos, but I would highly suggest anybody who wants to see some pretty creative stuff using AI for making films, look at this article. This is pretty good stuff. So this was by Ryan Morrison, published 3 days ago. Sora Goes Hollywood. And I checked out all of the videos, all 7 of them, and the first 4 I thought was outstanding, especially this one. This is just a little piece of it. OpenAI has given access to its impressive Sora artificial intelligence video generator to a group of professional artists and filmmakers to see what they could create. Sora was first revealed to the public in February, and in a little over a month, it has become one of the most dominant topics of conversation in the AI video space. Yeah, you hear people talking about it almost every day. While we have seen dozens of amazing videos produced using Sora, this is the first time anyone outside of OpenAI has been able to utilize the AI tool to make content. So these are not people that work for OpenAI at this point. Works were commissioned from creative directors, musicians, directors, and production companies drawing on the full capabilities of Sora to create realistic and surrealist works. Yes, and some of these are very surrealist, like the first one. There are still questions to be answered around the source material used to train Sora, with some concern it includes content shared on YouTube taken without permission. Yeah, some people are going to sue over that. But for now, at least a subset of the creative community seems to be using the new platform. So there's one here called The Golden Record, which is not bad. Short filmmaker Paul Trillo describes her as being at its most powerful when you're not replicating the old, but bringing new life and impossible ideas. One of the big arguments in favor of AI generated video is the ability to bring concepts to life that would be well out of budget for small indie filmmakers, giving them a new way to express their imagination without breaking the bank. That's good, I guess. Upgrade your life with, he created a series of videos that play on the obscure, zooming through tunnels to take you to disparate and sensational locations mixed with surrealistic scenes of robots and dancing trash. Yeah, the one with the dancing trash was weird. Another piece from Trillo tells the story of the golden record sent to space on the Voyager spacecraft. It took 11 different generations to cut together to explore what the odyssey of this record might look like. One of the most striking new videos came from Toronto-based multimedia production company Shy Kids. They produce Airhead, and Airhead is awesome. Now, in the reader view, you don't see it, but outside of the reader view, when you start going down, this is the one, the golden record, but this is Airhead. This is well worth watching. Very, very creative. It's very short, but I'm not going to play it. But if you guys want to see it, I would highly recommend going to see it. So I just wanted to let you know. There's the next one, Salsa. That one was okay, not great. This one was interesting. You're combining different types of birds and animals into one. Kind of weird. Talk about surrealistic. That's it. And sound. This one I didn't think was much, but it plays different sounds. So anyway, just wanted to let you guys see that. Let me go back to reader view, see if there's anything important I should have said that I didn't say yet. Okay. While it also showed some limitations in Sora around character consistency, but that will likely be improved before it's officially launched. So these people are getting the early hands-on, I guess. AI video isn't new. Generative AI video isn't even that new, with the first commercial models now more than a year old, but Sora seems to have taken this to a new level. Yeah, these are pretty impressive, if you ask me. Creating longer and more immersive clips from a single text prompt. And that's what makes it impressive, the text prompt. OpenAI says the main difference is compute power and time to train. Scale seems to be the bigger differentiator, but this increase pushes it into a new era where artists take note. In this first impression series, we also had Nick Keverov, I think, of Emmy-nominated agency Native Foreign visualize concepts for fake soda brands. Yeah, that one was pretty cool too. Musician August Kemp described it as a way to iterate on cinematic visuals, and creative director Josephine Miller from Aura Studios said it provided a way to bring long stagnant ideas to life. We've seen some amazing work from AI video producers using Runway, Pika Labs, or Stable Video Diffusion, but Sora videos feel more natural, less generated, even when surreal. Alexander Rubin is a sculptor and current OpenAI artist in residence. He builds models inspired by AI-generated images and uses Sora for inspiration. My thoughts drifted towards exploring the realm of photogrammetry, and its potential applications to sculpture, he said. The prospect of transforming video into 3D models intrigued me as it hinted at propelling the AI system beyond the initial scope. So I'm not going to read the rest, but I did want to show you guys this article in particular, and I would highly recommend checking it out, especially the Airhead video. It's pretty cool. All right, out of reader view, let me go back to the comments if there's anything. Okay. Let's see. Ted said, "Wish I could be on." Yeah, I wish you could too, Ted. This would have been right up your alley. And Don, okay, now we've got two Texas guys in here. We've got Ted and Don. Hey, Don, glad to have you. Happy Easter, brother. I hope you had a good Friday. Sounds like I'm talking double talk. Okay. Ted tried to get on, but he was having issues with his Pixel, allowing him to use the mic, so he didn't quite make it. So I'm going to go back to my last story. Okay. So arrested former UPS employee cashes in on the stolen Apple products. This was on Tom's Hardware, and I believe this is a Canadian UPS worker. Okay, this was from 5 days ago. 6 days ago. Former UPS employee stole $1.3 million in Apple merchandise, used proceeds to buy a home, pay off his Audi. This is by Aaron Clax, published May 22nd. Perpetrator stole all the Apple goods from his local UPS warehouse where he worked for over 10 years. Glad he got caught because it seemed like he was cleaning up. Right, pop into reader view. Global News reports that a former UPS sorting supervisor was arrested for stealing and reselling $1.3 million in Apple products from a UPS warehouse in Winnipeg, Canada. The UPS employee was fired and is now facing charges for his theft, I guess this should say, which took place between July 2023 and January 2024. So not bad for 6 or 7 months haul. But he got caught. That's the best part. Court documents reveal that the perpetrator, Martinez Beltrano, purportedly stole roughly 866 Apple products from a UPS warehouse he had worked in since 2013. He then resold all of the stolen merchandise on Kijiji, I guess, taking payments in cash or e-transfers. The article doesn't say how police discovered the stolen goods. I'm just glad they did. Or the perpetrator. However, in late January, Beltrano was arrested by Winnipeg police and charged with an assortment of crimes appropriate to the amount of merchandise he stole, including charges for theft of over $5,000 and under $5,000. A few days after his arrest, police executed a search warrant on his home and vehicle where they found over $1,800 worth of cash, electronic devices, and jewelry. In a police interview, Beltrano admitted to stealing the products and using the money from reselling the merchandise to buy a home worth $630,000 and pay off an Audi hatchback he already owned worth $60,000. Glad he got caught. Court documents also revealed that Beltrano made cash deposits totaling more than $232,000 into his bank accounts from the merchandise he resold between September and January. A substantial amount of cash still has yet to be discovered in Beltrano's possession unless he sold his stolen merchandise at a highly discounted rate. I doubt that. The court is seeking a judge's approval to allow officials to seize most of Beltrano's possessions, including the aforementioned property and stuff he bought with the stolen merchandise. I hope they take his house. Beltrano will probably serve jail time, for his actions and or be charged with a serious fine to account for all the financial damage he has caused to UPS. Why probably? That guy belongs in prison. Anyway, this interesting story. Glad they caught the guy. So we are out of our stories, folks. And let me stop screen. I feel bad that Ted couldn't join us, but you always one now, Ted. Just to let you know. So maybe next week. And so I'm going to be finishing my move this weekend. But I hope, as I say every week, I hope everybody has a blessed weekend. But I especially hope you have a blessed Easter. And I will see you guys next week. And maybe me and Ted will see you next week. So everybody have a blessed Easter. And let's always remember we all do better when we love each other. See you, folks.